of the Imitation of Christ by Thomas à Kempis. Book 1, Admonitions Useful for the Spiritual Life. Chapter 18, of the Examples of the Holy Fathers. Look upon the lively examples of the Holy Fathers, in whom true perfection and religion were a shining light, and thou wilt see how little and almost nothing that is what we do. Alas, what is our life if compared to theirs? The saints and friends of Christ served the Lord in hunger and thirst, in cold and nakedness, in labor and weariness, in watchings and fastings, in prayers and holy meditations, in persecutions and many reproaches. Oh, how many and grievous tribulations have the apostles, martyrs, confessors, virgins, and all the rest suffered, who made up their minds to follow the footsteps of Christ. For they hated their lives in this world, that they might possess them for life eternal. Oh, how strict and detached a life the Holy Fathers led in the desert! What long and grievous temptations they endured! How often were they molested by the enemy! What frequent and fervent prayers they offered to God! What rigorous fasts they observed! What great zeal and fervor had they for their spiritual progress! How strong a war they waged for the overcoming their vices! How pure and upright was their intention towards God! They labored all the day, and in the night they gave themselves to long prayers. Though even whilst they were at work, they ceased not from mental prayer. They spent all their time profitably. Every hour seemed short, which they gave to God, and through the great sweetness of contemplation, they forgot even the necessity of their bodily refreshment. They renounced all riches, dignities, honors, friends, and kindred. They desired to have nothing of this world. They scarcely took the necessaries of life, attention to the body, even when needful, was irksome to them. They were poor, therefore, as to earthly things, but very rich in grace and virtues. Outwardly they lacked, but inwardly they were refreshed with grace and divine consolation. They were strangers to the world, but near to God and His familiar friends. They seemed to themselves as naught, and were despised by this world, but were precious and beloved in the eyes of God. They stood in true humility, they lived in simple obedience, they walked in charity and patience, and therefore they daily advanced in spirit and obtained great favor with God. They were given as an example for all religious, and ought more to excite us to make good progress than should the number of the lukewarm make us grow slack. Oh, how great was the fervor of all religious in the beginning of their holy institution! Oh, how great their devotion in prayer! How great their zeal for virtue! What great discipline was in force amongst them! what great reverence and obedience in awe flourished under the rule of a superior. Their footsteps remaining still bear witness that they were right holy and perfect men, who, waging war so stoutly, trod the world under their feet. Now he is thought great who is not a transgressor, who can with patience endure what he has undertaken. Oh, the lukewarmness and negligence of our state, that we so quickly fall away from our former fervor, and are now through sloth and listlessness even weary of living. Would that advancement in virtues be not wholly asleep in thee, who hast often seen many examples of the devout. And that concludes Chapter 18 of Book 1 of the Imitation of Christ.